Welcome everybody to Critical Rocket Chassis Variant Series, now with the Firestarters. Yes, this is going to be slightly longer because there are more variants of the Firestarter, but they generally do one thing, and that is burn. Burn, and burn and more. Yes, the Firestarter was a much maligned light for a long time when the Flamers were kind of weak and crap, and now I think PGI have hit the right stride with the Flamers in-game. But I've thought at the time, man, this is not going to be a good video for Flamers, especially for this version, the 9A. So the 9A comes with 4 Flamers, 2 small lasers and 2 medium lasers. Kind of hot. You got to be careful with how you use the lasers after you've been burning quite a few targets. But I find the Firestarter in MechWarrior Online, like any Flamer equipped mech, to be a tactical one. When you are running the Flamers, they can be very, very useful, and it's good to have weapons like Flamers on lights rather than heavier mechs, because light mechs have that ability in a furball to get in close when the lasers and the ballistics are flying. And the Firestarter in this case was really useful because you can just keep bigger mechs at a high level of heat, especially when you've got your Alpha Strike guys. And this map just played out perfectly, and I think really highlights just how good a Firestarter can be, even in a cold map. Obviously, cold maps work against you a little bit because obviously they can dissipate the heat a bit quicker. But man, yeah, I just had a really, really good run on this one. So the 9A so far gets a thumbs up, just off my experience of it alone. And obviously, when you see how many energy hardpoints it's got, 8. This is a popular version to just mount with things like small lasers, small pulses, and if you feel like you want to do a bit more damage at the, for slightly extended range but less weaponry, you can always go for mediums or medium pulses. It works generally well, whatever setup you go for. Firestarters are quite quick. They've got pretty good hitboxes, and by that I mean they're kind of tough to hit a certain spot. I kind of liken the Firestarter to being the Innisphere Arctic Cheetah at the moment. It can boat relatively similar amounts of weapons, and in some respects it can actually fire their weapon loads a lot more than the clan ones because of the heat issues. So it's more of a preference whether you want to go with the clan range tech and the capability of ECM. I mean, that's what really gives the Arctic Cheetah that edge, but the Firestarter is not something to pass over. So the 9A is pretty good for energy points. It's pretty good stock, in my opinion, as far as the Flamers go. And yeah, decent speed once you get a good sized XL engine in it. And I would recommend the XL engine in the 9As or any of the Firestarters, to be honest, because speed is your key defensive shield, really, for this mech. Obviously, tabletop-wise, Firestarters were more anti-infantry and anti-vehicle kind of mechs. They would use their Flamers to create things like smoke screens by igniting forests or buildings, that kind of thing, so it would obscure the vision of enemy mechs or enemy forces, and it had the rather grisly task of just literally cooking people to death in defensive positions. Again, it was another light mech that was very, very useful because of its jump jets, and the Flamers did pretty much the same things they do in MechWarrior now, which is they heat a mech up rather than maintaining that mech's current heat. And it's one of the more positive changes I think PGI have made in a while. I don't really like the graphical effect because it kind of looks like a jet thruster, but it's neither here nor there, really. That's more of a personal nitpick, and it doesn't really diminish the usefulness of these weapons now. And you're going to see it now. I know the round was a bit slow to get going, but this is where I think the 9A is definitely worth taking. You could probably tweak the stock build, but if you want to use the Flamers, this works quite well, because the Flamers are kind of split. You've got 1 in each arm and 2 in the CT, which means you've always got some kind of heat weaponry that you can bring to bear. I wouldn't recommend sticking all the Flamers in the arms, because arms are probably the easiest thing to get blown off on the Firestarter. Generally not the legs, I found. It's usually the arms that get shot off. So yeah, definitely focus on that. So here we go. I really wasn't expecting much at this, but man, was I happy with the results. And the flamer effect, you can just see that this Timberwolf will pretty much shut down constantly. Every time he tries to use his weapons, he's just going to overheat, and he's fired again, and he's shut down again. And I completely isolated him from the fight, took him out. So, that was a 75 ton round. And you can do it to other lights as well. That's the great thing with the Firestarter. And as you can see, Jenna 2C overheats, shuts down. He's dead. I think I even get kills with the flamers at one point. It's crazy how useful this thing was. And that was on a cold map, and a big map at that. I mean, maybe it was just the stars aligned and I got like a good team and a bad team to fight against, and they went exactly where I needed them to. But whatever the reason is, I think it's a really, really good showcase of this variant of the Firestarter. And let's face it, they're not all that dissimilar from each other. I will be covering the others in other videos on this series. But yeah, it's, you know, it's some combination of flamers and small and medium lasers, pretty much. As I said, the build generally doesn't lend itself well to bigger weapons. I wouldn't go above the mediums, pulse or otherwise. And if you didn't want flamers, I would definitely just turn this into a small pulse boat, because that's what's going to get you the most damage quickly. It's not going to be the likes of, you know, heavier hitting weapons, because just light mechs just haven't got the space or the free tonnage to just deal with all that heat that's generated from bigger weapons. So yeah, smaller ones generally work well, because you can run away after doing one pretty big alpha strike and still feel like you've contributed a lot of damage quite quickly. So yeah, 9A gets the thumbs up of approval. I really like it in stock, and it's certainly got the capability to be a very customizable light mech if you're interested in picking up the Firestarter, if you haven't already. And yeah, this round is going to wrap up soon, so once again, thanks for watching. If you like this, please rate it up. If you've got anything to add, let us know in the comments below, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do. There'll be plenty more MechWarrior videos already on the channel, and more in the future to come, so have a good week, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Crystal Rocket, signing out.